adrenaline.
You know, it's a pretty interesting time to be alive. What's the saying that made the times you live in be interesting? We have accomplished that.
And more testosterone for your morning drive.
But when you know you've got a problem, how about tell people and be honest? What's going on?
Going to war on cancel culture and bringing the spotlight on issues and topics from around the city of Jackson.
I feel like Jackson, Mississippi.
No one else wants to talk about.
The whole system is corrupt and evil. It's unreal. And they don't care. And everybody knows that. It's just sad.
And fights for the soul of America.
I'm going to need y'all to explain to me what a positive solution is, because you positive solutions only people have been in charge for a while now. And I'm not seeing too many positive solutions.
You never met a mother quite like me.
Strap in, turn up the volume, and get ready, Jackson, for unfiltered, no sugar added talk radio. Broadcasting live from the Generator Power Solutions studio. It's award-winning podcaster Clay Edwards.
Good morning, Jackson, Mississippi. You're listening to the Clay Edwards Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. I'm broadcasting live, as always, in the Generator Power Solutions studio. You heard me tell you yesterday, all of our infrastructure has been under attack lately. It won't be long before they get the power grid. So don't get caught slipping. Get with Jason Frost and the team over at Generator Power Solutions LLC.com and tell them that Clay told you to get some backup power protection. All right, I've got a guest in the studio today. We're going to get to him in just a second. Somebody's been really, really inspirational the last week, and I wanted to make sure we got him on here to talk about some stuff, because I think you guys are going to enjoy this. If I know my fellow Mississippians, I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy this. Real quick, yesterday was another sad day in the city of Jackson, Mississippi. Young girl graduated school, what would that have been? Tuesday, and gets murdered Tuesday night. Young girl named Kennedy Hobbs. Her family had a rally and a press conference out in front of JPD last night to demand some changes in the city of Jackson from the leadership, from the top down. We were out there, we covered it, talked to a bunch of people. It was very humbling, very sad. I mean, I know that as soon as I left, I picked up the phone and I called my daughter and I told her I loved her. I was like, man, it's just one of those kind of moments. And I know that the people that are in the streets of Jackson doing the robbing, stealing, killing, gang violence, just spraying their guns with no remorse, can't hit the target they're ever intended to hit. I know they're not listening to this show, but maybe you are, and maybe you can reach out to those people. Put your arm around them, and I don't know anything else to tell you other than pray for them. We've got to change what's going on in our hearts around here, or you can dump $1 billion into Jackson, and it's not going to change anything except make somebody else's pocket fatter. All this other stuff's going to continue if we don't get Christ in our lives and in these children's lives at some point. So I just wanted to get that off my chest real quick. All right, joining me today, Mississippi Highway Patrolman, Bubba Holifield. Bubba, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. So we got Bubba on today because Bubba was friends with Trooper John Harris. They worked together, and when Trooper Harris passed away this past Friday, tomorrow will be 1 week, Bubba stepped right up immediately with his ministry, Warriors by Grace, and started a fundraiser. And this thing, the last time I looked, was up around $133,000. I haven't checked this morning. Where are y'all sitting at this morning?
I think we're sitting right at $137,000 this morning.
I tell you what, man, that's amazing. So I saw it Saturday morning, I think, for the first time. I donated, and in the back of my mind, I was like, where I would love to see it by the end of the weekend. Wouldn't it be amazing if when I walked into the radio station Monday morning, that thing was at $100,000, and it was, and I think it got there Sunday night, if I remember right, or right around that timeline. I thought, that is so awesome. It just made me proud to be a Mississippian, and something we talked about during the break and something I said on the show yesterday. I saw people commenting, well, how much is enough? Don't take this away from us, man. We want to feel good. If we want to give, if the thing gets to $1 million because Mississippians and people around the world felt like their heart led them to donate to that ministry, then so be it. Let it be, you know. But with all that said, you're winding it down. You're going to close it down tomorrow.
Yes.
What time? You got a time frame in mind?
Plan on closing it down at 5 o'clock.
So people can donate through 5 o'clock tomorrow. I have shared this thing a dozen times on the Save JXN and my personal Facebook page. Bubba, what can they search? If they just want to go to Facebook and search for it, how do they do it?
You got two options. You can search our ministry page, which is Warriors by Grace Ministries on Facebook, or you can just type in Bubba Holifield. You can find it on either one of those pages.
Yeah, but that's Holyfield spelled Holi.
Correct.
You know, like the real deal Holyfield.
Exactly.
I like it.
But the easiest way is to find it on our ministry page, Warriors by Grace Ministries, because being a state trooper, I do have my profile set to private, and so you may not be able to see my post.
Gotcha. Well, like I say, my posts are public, so y'all know how to find me, Clay Edwards or Save JXN, and it's there. And I was talking to Bubba. I was like, well, man, what led you to start a ministry? And I got a little history course. Bubba was involved, well, you were SWAT for MHP.
Yes.
And you were involved in that shootout in North Mississippi where Lee Tartt lost his life.
Yes, sir.
And that led you to start this ministry?
Yes, my wife and I.
So how did all that unfold? What was the determining factor there?
Well, when it was all said and done, and after the shooting was over with, and we were in recovery and recovering from everything. Yeah,
and I guess I left the part out. Bubba got shot in that situation too.
Yes.
So important part of the story there.
Well, all I can think about is just the life that Lee Tartt lived in just his honor and his memory. And so I thought that the best way to remember him was when my wife and I decided to start our ministry to help students and to do missions. We couldn't think of a better way to honor his memory than name the ministry after him. And that's why we called it, started it off with Warriors, because Lee Tartt was a warrior that night, and man, he did pay the ultimate sacrifice like so many warriors in the past. And then, of course, by grace, it's because we all have been given God's grace to be here on this earth.
Absolutely, man. I'm going to tell you, it seems like MHP has taken some hits the last few years, more so than any other law enforcement agency in the state. Of course, they're statewide, so the probability of that, I guess, is higher just by sheer numbers. But it hurts. You know, my mom was in law enforcement. My grandmother was in law enforcement. My grandmother was retired from MHP. She wasn't on the law enforcement side. She's on the office side of things. But I grew up down at headquarters all the time down there running around. You know, so I just hold MHP very close to my heart. And when I hear about these guys, you know, getting hurt, getting shot, God forbid, dying, you know, it really hits home. And like it does, I think, for a lot of Mississippians. And I had somebody reach out to me the other day. They said, I wish we did this, what we're doing for this, for John Harris. I wish we did this for every troop that died. It's like, well, I just don't know how you do that. I was like, but this is it's localized is why it matters. You know, we care extremely locally about when we get an opportunity to take care of somebody and take care of their family and try to set them up. Does money fix anything? No, but it will help problems down the road. You know, because inevitably the bills are still coming. College tuition is going to be due, whatever the case may be. And you want to try to help these folks out, man. That guy paid the ultimate sacrifice, you know, doing his job, you know, and we just want to pay him back. That's how we say thank you. So if you can find it in your hearts to donate, and I like that it got held over till Friday because Friday's payday, and that's sometimes we get a little disposable income. May I implore you to, you know, if you were going to do something a little silly with some money, maybe something, I say selfish, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but just something for yourself, postpone that a week. You know, give a little bit here. You'll feel better about yourself. I promise. The 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks you donate, $100, you'll get that back in spades. You know, you put a little good juju into the world, you're going to get a little good juju back. I'm a firm believer in karma. So y'all search that out and check it out. I'm really interested in the ministry. I love the name. Warriors by grace. Because that feels like something that we can all live by. We can all be warriors by grace, warriors for Christ. I really, really like that. And you were 22 years in the National Guard, and you did a tour of duty in Iraq?
Yes, sir. I did 22 years in the National Guard. As a military police officer in 2009, 2010, I served in Mosul, Iraq.
What was it like over there, man? I mean, not to be Captain Obvious here. I know it was a hellhole, but I mean, just
it was nasty, dirty. Surprisingly, the people are nice. Really nice people.
I was about to ask that because I've heard that. I've heard that, contrary to what you may see on the news, that the people were very glad that America was over there trying to help.
Yeah, a lot of the people are really, really nice. And, I mean, if you look at the Muslim faith anyway, it calls for them to be nice. It calls for them to be really good people. It's the extremists that we were dealing with over there that were the ones that were not so quite as nice as the actual true Muslims. Yeah,
look, we have Christian extremists too that I know embarrass a lot of us, and it's like, I can only compare them to, say, a Muslim extremist. The people that go and they protest cops and military members' family funerals and whatnot. Westboro Baptist Church, for example,
yes.
That's extremism. That what they're preaching is no better. Look, we're going to take a break real quick. We went a little over here in the opening segment. You're listening to the Clay Edwards Show. I've got Mississippi Highway Patrolman Bubba Holifield sitting in with me. We'll be right back here on 103.9 WYAB. Edwards Show. This segment of the Clay Edwards Show is brought to you by Watkins Construction and Roofing. A roof repair can cause a lot of stress. Choosing the right roofing company to repair your roof is very important. Most contractors try to convince you that replacement is the only way to go, and that's just not going to be the Watkins way. They believe in an honest assessment that doesn't necessarily mean replacement. In most cases, all you need is a repair. Check this out. A list came out the other day of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in America. Watkins Construction and Roofing right here in Jackson, Mississippi made that list. I think they were around number 3,400. Now you may say, well, Clay, they're number 3,400. Well, think of how many businesses there are in America right now. So what a huge accomplishment. Congratulations to those guys. So if you're having any roof issues, leaking issues, give Watkins Construction and Roofing a call today for your complimentary roof assessment at 601-966-8233 or check them out online at watkinsconstructioninc.com. All right, in studio with me, I've got Bubba Holifield with the Mississippi Highway Patrol and Warriors by Grace Ministry. We were talking off air about when Bubba got shot back in 2016, and the whole process of recovery and people raising money and this, that, and the other. And you were telling me that through some fundraisers, you got about $10,000.
Yeah, around $10,000.
So for some perspective, and something that's been 5 years now.
Yeah, 5-6 years.
And and you've taken that and the inspiration from all that, and in the memory of your friend, and here we are with over $130,000, almost $140,000 for John Harris. That is inspiring me over here, man. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I've had this gut burning feeling that I want to try to figure out a way to sponsor a trooper scholarship, to go through the training. I talked with Lieutenant Colonel Tuggle about that and just try to figure out how to put it together, how it makes sense. But would love to be able to send somebody almost like a scholarship in the honor of maybe somebody who had fallen in the line of duty, and do it through fundraising and stuff. So from my heart's at, just trying to figure out how to apply that without failure. But so we were talking about your ministry, and aside from raising money for fallen police officers and whatnot, you guys do a lot in inner city communities, low income areas, working with kids, stuff of that nature. You host barbecues and whatnot.
Yeah, and the thing with our ministry, everything is 100% donation based. We don't have any source of income. But what we try to do is use anything and everything that people donate to us to reach out to these lower income areas, whether it be Jackson, whether it be Pillahatchee, Morton, Scott County, wherever God calls us, that's where we go. I mean, we've been Birmingham, Costa Rica, Illinois, just like I said, wherever God calls us, that's where we go to do ministry at.
Man, I'm going to tell you, that goes back to my opening segment about, what we got to do to get these kids, try to get some kind of positive influence in these children's lives. And I'm going to use the Jackson area as an example because that's where I'm at all the time. And that's where I see it's a high impact area that needs help, and I've got some other friends that have a ministry called Strong Arms of Jackson, and they do violence interruption and credible messenger type program in the inner city to try to reach these kids that would typically listen to police, that don't want that in their lives. And they're doing a lot of the same stuff with the kids. They've got a community center going. It's just very inspiring, and it's inspiring to hear what you're doing, because there are people out there, as negative as somebody like me can be and get on here and run my mouth and post the stuff I post online, but there are real soldiers out there doing things, and that's why I love that name, Warriors by Grace, because I think that's what is very encompassing of what you guys do, and I just want to say thank you for that kind of stuff, because not everybody knows how to do that.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. So what's next up for you guys? Y'all got anything big planned? Or if they want to donate to just Warriors by Grace, I'm assuming that there's a way to do that.
Yes.
Through y'all's Facebook page?
Yeah, you can do it through our Facebook page. We have Venmo. I have people mail checks, just whatever way you can contact us through our Facebook page for any kind of donations. And all donations through our ministry are 100% tax gift letter approved. We are 501c3.
Yep.
So we can issue a tax gift letter on those donations.
That goes a long way, especially for businesses donating and stuff of that nature. It's not easy to start a 501c3. I know some people who have tried.
And I was told that in the very beginning, and man, God's worked everything out for us. I talked to an attorney when we first started, and he was telling me how hard it could be. But then he kind of walked me through the steps and just told me over the phone verbally on how to do it. And I went online through the IRS and did it myself, and we had an approval within just a matter of no time. And not only approval, right before it happened, we was thinking, man, it's going to cost us like $800 to do this. And like right as we were actually getting ready to do it, had a friend of mine call me and asked me to meet him at a store, and he gave me a $1,000 check. He didn't know we were doing this, but he just gave me a $1,000 check to go towards one of our some of our mission projects. And little did he know that we were really, really needing that to help start the 501c3. So
that's just God, man.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Every time we need something, a donation comes in, and God just provides every single time.
Hey, man, what did I just say about put good juju in, get good juju out? I don't know where I started using the word juju here recently, but I got tired of saying karma, but you just put good in, man, you get good out, and God is never going to lead you wrong.
Yeah, I definitely believe that God does bless those that are doing his work, and I've seen it time and time again.
Absolutely. Is your ministry affiliated with any church or anything like that, or is it just strictly your deal?
It is strictly, and my wife and I did it on purpose. We strictly did it away from the church, just because we didn't really want a governing body over the ministry that was not part of the ministry. So everybody that's within our ministry is the governing body. We talked to everybody about decisions that we make, about trips that we take, but now we all are part of a church. A lot of our ministry are part of the church that I go to, in Hanger Church in Brandon, Mississippi. But I mean,
where's that at?
I've
seen that.
It's off of Highway 80, off of Gooley Shiloh Road, between Brandon and Pillahatchee.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Cool church, airplane hangar.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen something about that on Facebook or something. But I'm gonna be out that way later tonight, and I'm gonna be looking for it when I'm passing through.
Hey, you got to look really close. It's not really easy to spot because it's off a little county road.
I'm gonna tell you, man, I got away from church when just through that era in my life when I was in the nightclub business and I was doing drugs and just going down a broken road to hell. And before I got found grace, and just what a miserable time in my life that was. And I'm a member of Hickory Ridge Baptist Church out in Florence.
Really good church.
It is, man. Look, Terry Fant, the pastor, I grew up with him. We went to high school together. We worked in bars together. I mean, when he gets up there and he's telling people his testimony and his story, I walked the same steps right beside him. Now he found God a lot quicker than I did, and got on the right path, and God has used him in amazing ways. But I always knew when I got ready to get right, Lord willing, that God allowed me to live long enough to make that decision. That's where I was going to be making that decision at, and living my life for Christ was going to be through Hickory Ridge. And I knew it, man. When I finally started going, I was like, don't go to the front on the first day, Clay. Don't walk to the front on the first day. I was so proud. I made it 4 months, man. And I was really, really ready. And just one day, finally, man, I just started crying and just overcome. And it was like, today is the day. There's no, I would have ran through a brick wall. Thomas Toggle couldn't have stopped me from getting to the front that day. And man, it's been great. I don't get to go quite as much as I want, just from pure exhaustion. But man, I love it. It's just a nice reset button on the week, gets you motivated. And I imagine hearing your story is probably the same way for millions of Christians out there. And when you get in the church and you just take that deep breath and hear the word, and I learned the difference in going to church and being the church.
Yeah, huge difference.
And what you're doing is being the church, and I love that. I do. It's very inspirational. So I never thought about that. I just heard Pastor Terry mention that in a sermon one day. The difference in the church isn't the building; we are the church.
Exactly.
And what we do in our day-to-day lives and can do for others is that's being the church. And that really resonated with me, and I've taken that and I've tried to implement that into my day-to-day life. Do I trip and fall? Sure, but at the end of the day, I try to get back, because I shouldn't be here, But through my own self-inflicted nonsense, where a guy like you gets shot in the line of duty, saving a young girl's life, I'm just, my shenanigans are completely different. But we can all be the church. I guess that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
There's much respect for what you do. I think that's awesome. But you were saying, so it's affiliated, well, not affiliated, but you guys go to Hanger Church.
Yes, a lot of us go to Hanger Church.
Who's the pastor out there?
Doug Payne. He's my pastor. He's been a good friend for many years. I knew him when I was a kid. But he's one that, just like you said, was the roughest of the rough. Nightclubs, drugs, whatever. But found God's grace, just like so many of us do. And now he's one of the best pastors I've been around in a long time. Has one of the biggest hearts you can ever meet.
Yeah, man, I love hearing that, because I don't want to speak for anybody else, and I don't want to paint with a broad brush here, but it's just something about, for me, a guy that's been walked through the fire, to know that guy up there preaching to me is flawed, has been through it, is dealing with the same demons, same struggles. It may be a different type, but nonetheless, it's the same type chaos in their lives. Just it's very inspirational to know that if they can do it, I feel like I can too, because we ran that close together. And growing up, I grew up in just a traditional Southern Baptist, First Baptist type church, and it was very sit still, listen to the preacher in his suit preach to you, and there's no knock on that. There's some of that for everybody. When I show up to church now, man, Terry's got on blue jeans and a Columbia fishing shirt, and we've actually demodernized the church a little bit. The LED lights and stuff are gone, all of that, and I mean, you get a healthy dose of hellfire and brimstone.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, I love that.
I think sometimes it makes people more excited about being at church. Wakes them up. It definitely, a lot of church day are waking people up.
Yeah, I think coming out of a year like 2020, I'm not going to drag in and no crazy talk, but coming out of a year like 2020 with the COVID and all that, and the lockdowns and churches not being able to get together, I think a lot of people are mad. And when we got back into church, I felt a different tone. People were ready,
Yeah.
and it was I feel like I was the member of the right church at the right time. Good.
A lot of people were hungry. They were hungry to get back in their church and serving the Lord, and it's like our ministry right now. We're hungry. We hadn't been able to go on a real mission trip in a while, because everything's been closed. Country's been closed down. Airlines have been closed down, and we're excited to get back on board this summer.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Did COVID derail any of y'all's plans?
It derailed everything. We've been going to Costa Rica every July since 2014, and it completely wiped it out last year. It wiped it out last year. The country is starting to shut down again right now. So we actually were planning to go the last week of July to Costa Rica, having to shut it down. So now we're fixing to transition to go to Mexico with a good friend of mine who's going to kind of help lead us up with that. Really good ministry partner in Pillahatchee, Scott Walters.
Nice. Well, we're going to take a break real quick. You're listening to the Clay Edwards Show. I'm joined today by Mississippi Highway Patrolman and Warriors by Grace Ministry President.
Yes.
Bubba Holifield. We'll be right back here on 103.9 WYAB. Thursday edition of the Clay Edwards Show. And believe it or not, this is episode number 40, I believe. I think yesterday was 39, so this is our 40th show already. I can't believe that. Just blink and time flies by. When you get up and got to do it every day, these numbers are going to add up pretty quick. Hey, look, man, this segment is brought to you by my good friends over at Lakeland Glass and Tint. You know these guys support police, military, all of that good stuff. If you need window tint, whether it be on your vehicle, your home, your business, give Lakeland Glass and Tint a call today, where quality matters. Also, if you need windshield repair, they should be your only phone call. 601-946-1000. Check them out online at lakelandglassandtint.com. So, Bubba, you were telling me, and I'm joined by Bubba Holifield today, you were telling me about the ministry reaching out and going in and talking to folks at rehab facilities and places like that.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about a women's facility over in Birmingham?
Yeah, we got introduced on a mission trip a couple years ago to a women's facility in Birmingham called the Love Lady Center. And it's another nonprofit that's located in Birmingham. And it's just an amazing facility.
Is it like a halfway house, or is it just like a standalone?
It's more of a, how the facility works is some of the ladies there are, I guess, self-initiated. Some of them are court-ordered. Mm-hmm. But it can be whether it's alcohol abuse or drug abuse, whatever the abuse is. This facility reaches out to all of them, and it's a faith-based facility. So that's an amazing part of the facility. But yeah, we've been working with that facility for the last few years, raising money for them, providing diapers, and a lot of stuff for them.
Yeah, we have a facility up here similar to that, the Teen Challenge folks. Same concept, I'm assuming. Yeah. And they're doing great work trying to get the father back into homes. And it sounds like this is the female version of it, trying to get mothers back in homes and whatnot and get them clean. And you were telling me about a guy that went over there with you and spoke to him, a gang member that had kind of been through the fire like we talked about, and just blew him away. Yeah. A fellow named Donnie.
Brother Donnie Flaherty, really good friend of mine. Matter of fact, Donnie went through the Teen Challenge program. He's a resident of Brandon, Mississippi. I took him over there a few weeks ago for just a CR, a Celebrate Recovery service, and just blew him away. His testimony had him on their knees in tears on how God can transform somebody from where they are then to where they are now. And because a lot of those ladies there, they're completely broken. They're at their worst, at their bottom, and they don't know which way to go. They can't think clearly. And when they see that there is a way to change, it's just amazing to see the transformation.
I mean, I've seen that Celebrate Recovery change so many lives. Like I was telling you, Hickory Ridge started it. I was on the ground floor with them with it. And that was 3 years ago, I believe. Right at 3.5 years ago. Yeah, almost 3.5 years to the day. They started it, and it is changing lives, through Christ. And so, and it's been successful, obviously, because it's expanded, but it expanded here. By no means did it start here. But the whole history of Celebrate Recovery is amazing, man, because it's different than the 12 steps. And I don't want to tell anybody, whatever works for you, keep doing it if it's working. But if you have somebody in your life that's struggling with their demons, several local churches around here are involved in the Celebrate Recovery program. And if you think all hope is lost, may I implore you to turn to Christ and attempt the Celebrate Recovery program, because it is different than the rest of these. It's not the judgmental. You don't have to get up and tell everybody you're an alcoholic or a drug addict and all this other stuff. It helped me. You know, when I first sobered up, I went to a Celebrate Recovery, and it was a little church in South Jackson. And so when the time came back around years later to try to give my testimony and help out and give back, we started a Celebrate Recovery class, or however you want to say it, program at Hickory Ridge. So I like that, man. So I went over to Birmingham to the Love Lady.
Yeah.
That's an interesting name. But I get it.
It's just these ladies, and their name shows who they are, because when you go over there, they not only do they love on you, but you see the love that they have just for what you're doing for them. And all we do simply when we go over there is we go over there and we provide a worship service and we preach. And I don't know, you'd have to see it. And we actually, if you look on our Facebook page, we have our service on their Facebook Live from the last Celebrate Recovery service that we did with them, and you can watch it and you can see just the ladies pouring down there at the altar, just getting on their knees, and it's just amazing to be there. I mean, if you were there in person, it's breathtaking.
Is Donnie's testimony on there?
It is. Donnie's whole testimony is on there.
I want to check that out, man. Those guys that have been through that, I love hearing their stories. You know, because anytime you think, but maybe let me say it like this: anytime maybe you have a loved one that you think is at rock bottom, and there's nothing they can't be fixed, they can't be saved. You see these guys like Donnie and these other cats that I know that you thought that about. It's like they can't be saved. Tattoos all over their face, steal from you every time you turn around, whatever the case may be. You're like, they can't be saved, and they get involved in these Celebrate Recovery type programs, and they get saved. And you're like, man, God is real.
Yeah,
it's very inspirational. So, you know, if if it's you dealing with it, man, I'm telling you, check it out. It's a good deal. One of the things we're big at on this show, Bubba, is, you know, is people trying to help felons that have been in trouble and getting back into society and getting second chances and doing all we can to try to help them from ending up right back in the same situation over and over and over. And ministries like these are a great example of that. And if somebody wanted to join your ministry and do these trips with you and do these things, is that an option for people? Is there a process involved in that, or is it just?
Yeah, it's an option. But we, I'm not going to say we're very strict, but we're careful on who we allow to come, because we'll ask you questions on your reasoning behind it. We'll ask you questions about your faith, your walk with God, the church you attend, your beliefs, everything, because, I mean, we don't want to take somebody down to Costa Rica or Mexico or even Birmingham that's going to go and lead somebody in the wrong direction, or lead another one of our team members in the wrong direction, away from God. So we do just ask you basic questions on your faith.
Yeah, you know, you don't want somebody doing it for social media likes, you know, just
exactly
for selfish reasons, I guess, just the easiest way to say it. Yeah, man. Well, I'm sure that's hard to find, but when you find the right people, you know it too.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell when somebody's there for the right reasons and when somebody's there for the wrong reasons. Because if anybody's asking what's in it for me, it's probably there for the wrong reason.
Exactly.
So y'all have had that, 4 years now? Going on 5?
Going on 4 or 5 years.
4. So kind of the timeline, how soon after you're being shot and Lee passing did you start the ministry?
Well, we were already doing mission trips before that.
Okay.
But officially actually starting the ministry and doing it in memory of him was the idea come about within probably 4 or 5 months. But it was actually, I think, early 2017 before we actually officially started the ministry and got the 501c3 and the Secretary of State's issue deals and all that good stuff.
Have y'all been involved in any more fundraisers for officers around the state or patrolmen and stuff since then?
No, this is actually the first one. I'm telling you, man, we've never really done it before, but John was a good friend of mine. I remember talking to him before patrol school, and even at work. And I told my wife Friday night after he got killed, I said, baby, we got to do something. And didn't know what we were going to do, but I just knew we needed to do something. And something turned into something pretty cool.
You were telling me a story about John going to patrol school, and I learned something new this morning. I just assumed if you had already been through police training school that you could just kind of change jobs. And you didn't have to go start over, but to be a patrolman, you got to go start over.
Yeah, exactly.
And go through Lieutenant Colonel Tuggle's however many weeks of hell out there, and start over. And he did that at an older age than most.
Yeah, John and I were sitting at Duke's one day a few weeks before. If you don't know what Duke's is, it used to be a restaurant in Pelahatchie, Mississippi.
Yeah.
But
steakhouse, right?
Yeah, Duke's Steakhouse used to be Duke's Steakhouse. But we were sitting there one day, and I told him, I asked him, I said, John, how old are you? And I don't remember how old he was, and he was up in his upper 30s. And I said, John, I said, man, you're 3 years older than me. I said, are you sure you want to start something like this late in life? I said, man, they're going to hurt your body. I said, they're going to beat you down. And he told me, he said, Bubba, he said, I ain't quitting. He said, the only way I'll leave Melota from trooper school is in an ambulance. And, man, he made it through. Of course, he looked like a Ethiopian coming out of patrol school, but he made it through it.
Well, that's what I was telling you. I was like, man, there's two different pictures of this guy floating around. There's a picture of him just jacked, and then there's a picture of him, rather skinny fella. So I'm guessing now the timeline makes sense. One of those pictures is fresh out of Melota, and the other where he put some weight back on, I assume.
Yeah, when you go to Melota, when you go to trooper school, man, it takes a lot of weight off of you.
Oh yeah, I absolutely. Maybe I need to go to trooper school for a few weeks, months, lose about 100 pounds. But I'm kidding. Hey, look, man, we're going to take our last break here on the Clay Edwards Show. I'm joined today by Bubba Holifield. We'll be right back here in the Generator Power Solutions studio right after this break. All right, welcome back to the Clay Edwards Show. As we got about 2 minutes left here with Bubba Holifield today. I just want to thank Bubba for coming by, man. It's very inspirational to see folks make sacrifices with time and energy and all of that. And the man lost a friend and a coworker, and he still found the strength to use his ministry and his relationship with Christ to start a fundraiser. I mean, it has to be. I'm going to go out on a limb here. It has to be the single largest fundraiser for an officer that's passed in the state of the history of the state. I don't know that. That's just me shooting from the hip here. But I've seen a lot of these. I've donated to a lot of these, and I don't think I've ever seen one with this much money in it, and that's huge. And that's people trusting the person doing it, and that's people being moved by the life that officer lived, or that trooper lived, however you want to say that. Those pictures of his young children and his wife, that's just devastating. To think about that, and to think about them having to find out. And we all hear these news stories when they break as a officer killed on the line of duty, and they haven't told the name yet. So then at that point, every officer's family members are freaking out. Is it you? Texting you, calling you, trying to make sure that it's not their policeman, their husband, their father. I can't imagine what these families go through. And then when you inevitably find out that it is your family member, it has to be devastating. Yeah. So real quick, we've got about 30 seconds left, man. How can they find you?
Warriors by Grace Ministries or Bubba Holifield on Facebook. The last thing, man, I just want John to be remembered. John Harris is probably one of the best troopers I've ever been around. Top-notch trooper. Went over and beyond his job. When I say over and beyond, he went over and beyond.
Well, man, we'll do all we can to keep his memory alive here. And if there's ever anything the Clay Edwards Show can do to help you out, just let us know. Guys, we'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow at 7 a.m. as the Clay Edwards Show discusses all that is going on in and around the city of Jackson.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Right here on 103.9 WYAB.